I have been following the COSEF, the Ceramic Biennale, for 20 years. And every year, the exhibition reflects the time in which the exhibition had taken place. And when you look back after 20 years, you see that every artist in that period is reflecting the trends of the moment. And this year, I think the artists have truly reflected what is current in the international ceramic scene in the world. The artists have taken tremendous risk in exploring materials far beyond what what I previously have seen. What I mean by taking risk is that they're not afraid of using whatever material that enhances the clay to reinforce their ideas. We have a lot of mixed media. We have a lot of sound, we have light, we have a variety of shapes. But what was particularly interesting this year was to see the scale of the work. The forms were large enough and significant enough to really present the artist's ideas. They sent their best work. They didn't just send an example of their work. They went to all ends to bring the best from their studio. And I think many of them made work particularly for the biennial, which I think is a mark of how significant the biennial is to their lives. I'll see a lot of risk-taking, a lot of excellent ideas, and the trend for this particular biennial, more so than in recent years, has been about the social condition of the world today. We had far many more activist or socialist, social active ideas coming from personal anger and angst and anxiety of how the world is going, to concerns about the environment in ways that were powerful and meaningful, and also works that spoke to the loss of life as they know it through the high rise of drug in our world. The work was poignant and expressive and varied enough that it gave a fuller picture of what clay can be from a variety of voices. The International Jury Committee was really working very hard this year because of the fact that we could do digital first screening made the task first at home an enormous one. There were I think there were 1,500 entries. And to narrow it down as we did to 300 online and only 42 on site was a daunting experience. Thousands and thousands of slides had to be carefully looked at, resumes had to be read, artist statements had to be read, and it took weeks, at least for me. I couldn't do more than 2 hours a day and just sitting and going over all of the vast material that was sent to us. Then, of course, there were 7 jurors, so to come to Korea with the distillation of only 500 was a fascinating thing to witness, and it was a test to how strong and professional the jury was, in that we came together and 500 were really distilled down to the best of the best. And that process was fascinating. We had many discussions. We tacked all the work up on the wall. We printed out pictures. We analyzed, we thought about, we tried to analyze what the artist was saying. And here's what my personal criteria is. I thought it is something to take note of. Artists, for me, are visual philosophers. They articulate only visually, in terms of what you see, their concerns about the world, their concerns about a vocabulary that distills beauty and or ideas in ways that are meaningful to the viewer. And those works that are successful are heartfelt statements about our life and about our time. And when artists are able to voice an idea only through a visual vocabulary, it is powerful. I don't think there's another material that can grip you as much as the sensuality or the texture or the power of the clay material. And so for me, my selection, my personal selection, was based risk-taking, power of the idea, the experimentation that brought the work to fruition. But more so, primary was, did the work say something to me that I could identify with and learn from? Sometimes the work spoke only of the material, the validity of the material, how they manipulated the material in fresh and imaginative ways. Sometimes it wasn't the use of the material, but it was what the material was saying that made me have a visceral reaction to what they were doing. So some of the work made me feel like the hair on the back of my neck stood up. It just took my breath away. And when that happens, you know that you have a profound artistic, aesthetic experience. And those works that gave me that profound feeling are the works that I responded to and I pushed and voted for. So my votes were based on experimentation, risk-taking, ways of using the material that I've never seen before. But moreover, did the artist successfully convey their meaning? What were they teaching me? What were they showing me? And for that, I'm very grateful to the artists for having submitted such powerful work that made my job very hard. It was a very hard job because there was such good work. I think Korean artists are not unlike any other artists in the world. Artists have to look at their life and examine closely the things that they believe in and the things that excite them. When an artist shows their passion and their commitment, the work comes through as being passionate and being regarded. And I think my only advice to Korean artists specifically, but I say it to any artist, is to experience life, is to enjoy the education and keep learning, and experience things that make you have a strong point of view about things. I'm never in favor of art that doesn't move me, art that just is okay, it's just an object. You don't even pay any attention to it. No, you want art that stirs you up, that shakes you up, that makes you look at life in a fresh way. And the only way, I think, to make that happen is to never forget learning, never stop exploring materials, pick up new technology, pick up new ways of looking at the world, and bring that together to your voice when you're making art. I would like to see more Korean artists travel. I would like to see them become more worldly in the sense of getting around the world and demonstrating their skills. I really feel that Korean artists are extremely well trained. They have fabulous skill and tools, and I think they just need exposure. And the more they travel, the more exposure they'll have, and the more it will influence their own point of view in terms of what they want to say and how they want to say it. I have to congratulate the organizers to begin with, because they have never been more hospitable, more generous, and more open to suggestions and change. I have been coming here, this is my third Biennale that I've seen, and every one has been reinvented with a new idea, a new articulation. And they're reinventing themselves every year. And the organizers were the first to offer so much prize money. They were the first to establish the best written and photographed catalogs of any biennial that I've ever seen. They were the first to offer not only one museum, but 3 museums in the area to educate and inform about Korean history in the one museum, and in the other museum to demonstrate how clay is used in everyday living ware, which I thought was a brilliant idea. No one has ever done that. And then here in Icheon, for the Contemporary Art Museum, they have established exhibition spaces that are spacious and well lit and easy to access. So the platform that the organizers have made to show the biennial is probably the best I've ever seen. This year, in their typical imaginative and inventive and reinventing themselves way, they decided to use social media, to use the web as a way of promoting the biennial. And it was pure genius to have both an on-site and an online exhibition. That has never been done before. I think we are in our infancy in how the web can be used to excite and explore exhibitions. I'm hoping that technology will catch up to their imagination and perhaps have virtual reality walking through the exhibition for those who can't make it here. I think that the KICB is onto something really big here, and that is to promote to the world through web the magnitude of the exhibition, and through interviews of artists, through walking through the exhibition, getting far back and up close, even better than you could possibly even do if you were just standing there. The camera can come in and really focus in on details that sometimes the human eye can't see. So I think the organizers should continue with what they're doing. They're doing it with strength and with knowledge and with lots of research. I've never seen an organization work harder than they do here. I think the artists should be congratulated for putting in all the effort that goes into entering into a competition. First of all, they have to have work that they're proud of. And in this year's competition, I have to thank the artists for not only sending examples of the work, but sending their best work. They really put forth the very best from their studio, and you can see how hard they worked and how well thought out the works were that were submitted. Secondly, the artists have to prepare visuals in order to be looked at to begin with. So the preparation of the images so that they would have an online presence for the jurors to look at was extremely important. And I would say 90% of the artists who we looked at did a superb job in putting forth their visual documentation. Just reading the CVs and the statements of their careers and how their lives have developed as artists is enormously helpful for the jurors to look at. And so they not only had then to prepare their photos, but their written statements, then to think about how they were going to ship the work, then how it was going to be installed. There are so many factors that determine how a work is going to be perceived. And of course, in the end, it's just the moment of those jurors in time, in that moment, who are going to select the work. I hope the artists would never feel, those who were not accepted, that their work was not strong or was not good enough. The fact is that this series of 7 jurors in this moment in time selected this work, and that's all it means. So I'd like the artists, all the artists who participated, to know that to try again, because there'll be a new group of jurors, and things change and times change, and the way people think about work changes among the jurors. So my best advice, first of all, just to thank you, every one of the artists who participated, who sent in slides, even if they weren't selected. That was a milestone, numbers of people who applied. And those who were selected, thank you for going along with the online and the on-site criteria. That was great. And then lastly, don't ever give up. Keep working, keep experimenting, keep living a life that is dedicated to being an artist. It's a wonderful life, and it's a life full of joy and expectation. And don't feel that anyone is judging you, really. It's a question of this moment in time, and I think that's the best advice I can give. Never give up, keep coming back, and keep applying to biennials and getting your work shown around the world.